Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So I know it has been forever since I filmed a YouTube video and I'm very sorry about that, but I was super busy this summer with getting married, moving into my new office that I'm in right now, and also being a full-time mom through the month of July. So thank you for hanging in there, waiting for me to make new content, and I am so appreciative of all you guys who reached out to me asking when I was going to make a new video. So I am officially back and hopefully we'll be uploading a lot more consistently now. But today I wanted to give you guys 10 tips on how to increase your sales on Poshmark whenever you're really just struggling with the summer slowdown or your sales have just been a little bit sad. Hopefully these 10 tips will help you guys, especially through the fourth quarter, to boost your sales and help you out in those slow times. So if that sounds interesting, then just keep watching. Okay, so for tip number one, I'm sure that most of you guys have tried this, but I think there is a way to correctly use this method in order to increase your sales. And I remember when offers to likers first rolled out on Poshmark, the second that you sent out an offer, people were buying instantly. It was a huge success, but now that people are sending offers a lot more often and it is a huge part of the app, it's a little bit harder to use that feature in order to make a good profit. But I think there is definitely a way to do that and utilize that feature in order to make sales. And I think you have to start out by looking at what you're pricing at and making sure that you have the margins in order to send out offers. So definitely sending out offers and using offers to likers is step number one. And I would suggest sending out deeper discounts and probably more often than you normally would. So rather than maybe sending like once a week, once every other week, or whatever your typical schedule is, increasing that a little bit more and sending out a little bit of a more aggressive offer, especially with a deeper shipping discount like free shipping. So even if that person's not going to accept your offer right away, you need to prepare for a counter offer and be able to accept reasonable offers from there. So this does require pricing just a little bit higher in order to accept those lower offers and counter offers. And using offers to likers is also a really good feature because it brings those potential customers back to your listing, maybe that were just browsing on the app or were just looking around. Maybe they haven't really decided what they want to buy, but when you sweeten the deal and give them free shipping, they are coming back to your listing and looking at that product again. So I definitely would say send out offers to likers more often and send out more aggressive offers as long as you can still make a profit. Okay, and then on to tip number two. I have definitely been doing this, and I think that this has been one of the most helpful things that I've done throughout the summer, and that is sourcing for better margins. So basically what this means is sourcing your product for cheaper or finding another source that allows you to buy quality brands for a lower price. And this does take a little more time, but in the summer I feel like I do have a little bit more time when it comes to sourcing because sales are a bit slower, so I can kind of redirect my time in a different outlet in my business and use that to find those products that are a lower price, maybe going to the Goodwill outlet or finding other sources for sourcing items for cheap. Also in the summertime, you can source garage sales, so this is a really good time to get those items for a quarter, $1, things that are very inexpensive in order to increase your margins per item. So while things are slow and you're not selling as many items, you might be having a better margin and still making your profit goals for each month. So I definitely highly suggest sourcing things at a lower cost and being able to up those margins even if you're not selling a ton of items. Alright, so moving on to tip number three, I also think this one has really helped me throughout the summer, and if you have the opportunity to do this outside of starting a boutique and maybe you have access to some retail arbitrage or you have other ways of getting inventory of multiple sizes, I would highly suggest sourcing for multi-item listings. So what this is going to do is it's going to save you time when creating your listing so you can be out there sourcing for those lower priced items, but also you have more of an opportunity to reach people on the app and reach more potential customers, because although you may be reaching someone and they may love the product that you have, if you don't have it in their size, this makes it a little more difficult for them to buy. So obviously what we're trying to do right now is increase our sales and kind of combat what's going on. So if you make those little tweaks and you do have multiple sizes available in items, it makes it a little bit easier for those items to sell if it can reach a larger audience. Okay, and moving on to tip number four, this one might actually counteract what I've said already, but this is actually probably a better option if you have the opportunity. But I know a lot of us are guilty for having the quote-unquote death pile, which means unlisted inventory that you've gathered throughout the year and you haven't listed it yet. For one reason or another, it had small spots that you needed to treat, or you just have a pile of stuff laying around and you have never gotten to it. I'm guilty of this. I know a lot of us are guilty of this. But what you can do, rather than going out and sourcing new product, is just utilize what you already have and utilize your death pile. Because even with all of the tips given, sometimes sales are just slow. Bottom line, there's a lot of things that you can do to combat that, but at the end of the day, sometimes certain times of the year are just going to be slower for you. So if you can save money on inventory and lower your costs in general, it's going to be easier for you to survive on a little bit less of an income, if that makes sense. So what you're going to want to do is actually utilize everything that you already have before you go out and start sourcing, especially when sales are really slow. I would highly suggest using what you already have before going out and buying anything new. Okay, for tip number 5, I also think this is important throughout the year, but definitely during slow times, I think it's important to up your marketing and social media game. And this is a really important step in order to convert your social media followers into customers. So utilizing the swipe up if you have the opportunity on Instagram, using thrift hauls and inventory hauls on your social media platforms to engage people with the items that you actually currently have and directing them to your store. I do this throughout the year, but I definitely do this more during those slow times because your social media followers are already engaged with you and they're already engaged in what you're doing and what you're selling. More than likely, if you have an Instagram or YouTube or anything associated with your Poshmark closet. So those followers are already engaged, and if you're showing them the product that you have available, they're more than likely going to be the people who do convert to customers sooner rather than finding the correct potential customer on the app. I think social media following is huge right now, and it's definitely something you should be utilizing, but definitely during those slow times, make sure to up your game and really be posting more and a lot more about your store and about what you have available for sale. Okay, so for tip number 6, I think this is important all the time and throughout the year, but especially during slow times, I think it's really important to pay attention to market trends and what is actually selling. So obviously, you're always going to buy things that are going to sell throughout the year, but during slow times of the year, I think it's really important to have those super on-trend items in your closet in order to get those moving quickly. Because while summer is usually the slowest time, I also know that certain trends are going to be trending throughout that season, so the more trendy and the more on trend my closet is, more than likely my sales are going to stay steady rather than having those maybe more basic items or things that are more common. So you might want something a little more unique and something that is really trending in order to get those products to flip quickly. Okay, and moving on to number 7, this is something I don't necessarily do throughout the year, but definitely during those slow times, specifically summer slowdown, I am much more inclined to accept an offer, okay? I'm not an expert, I am not a software engineer, but I do know a little bit about the Poshmark algorithm, and I do know that it likes when you sell stuff, okay? So this means accepting offers, even if it's a little bit less than what you're expecting to get for it, or you feel like your item is worth X amount and they're offering you 40% off of that, I would highly suggest accepting the offer, especially if you have the margin. Obviously, we're not in the business to lose money, so obviously, again, source those products that you can make a profit on, but as long as you're still making a profit and it's a good margin for you, I would highly suggest taking that offer, because the more offers you accept, the more offers you accept, if that makes sense. So the more offers that you take, the more that people are going to offer you on different items. People are going to bundle if they know they can get a really good deal. So giving people those deals and accepting those offers is just going to boost you in sales, and your overall sales numbers are going to stay a lot more steady as long as you can take those lower offers. It's going to sting a little bit, but it's totally worth it. Okay, and for tip number 8, this is something that I definitely do during slow times, but also I think that this is something you can utilize throughout the year. I made an Instagram post about this the other day and you guys seem to really like it. So definitely run strategic sales. And this means running sales that are very aggressive, but knowing and planning in advance for them. So while you're sourcing those lower priced items, price a little bit higher and run a sale. So whether this is putting a sign up in your closet, tagging your potential buyers, sending the sign to different people in bundles and things like that, running a strategic sale on the app and also with your social media followers is really helpful when you just cannot get the sales going, okay? So when you're sourcing those lower priced items and you're pricing a little bit on the high side, you can offer a 50% off sale, you can offer a 30% off sale on bundles, you can come come up with whatever sale you want to do. But when you're offering these very like aggressive offers and, you know, giving people the opportunity to snag those items at a lower cost and doing it strategically in order to still make a profit, this is really helpful. I had my first ever $5,000 sales day when I ran a 50% off my entire closet sale. While this wasn't necessarily planned super in advance, I did plan ahead in order to make sure I still made a profit on every single item. So in order to run these strategic sales, you are going to need to look at your numbers. So if you don't know your numbers, this would be a good time to look at them and maybe give an opportunity to run a sale or, you know, contact those potential buyers and give them a really good discount. Okay, for tip number 9, this is going to also seem a little bit more obvious, but another thing you can do in order to increase your sales is to increase your closet size. So that means increase your available listings. And I know my friend Jade over at Fashion Without Trashin' on Instagram has been listing like over 100 items a day. Her closet is massive. And, you know, especially if you're going to be running sales, you are going to need to have enough available listings for people to bundle, for people to make offers, and to buy. So having obviously more inventory is more than likely going to lead to more sales. Not always if you don't have the right inventory, but if you're adding a ton of new, really on-trend inventory to your store, it's more than likely going to lead to more sales, especially if you're incorporating some of the other things that I've mentioned. So definitely increasing your closet size during those slow times can help to still get things selling. Alright, so last and finally, for tip number 10, I would highly suggest looking at your closet and making basic improvements. So while you do have this extra opportunity and time to be improving on your store, I would take these slow times as an opportunity to look at what you're actually doing. So look at those photos, look at your description and your title. How can you improve for SEO, which means search engine optimization? Usually through Google. I find a lot of buyers buy through Google when they're looking for that specific item. So look at what you're doing. Look and analyze your closet and see what you can improve on, especially those photos, descriptions, titles, and anything else that you could add or include in your listing in order to get people finding more of your items and also buying. So converting those people into customers and seeing what you can do within your listings to really drive traffic to your store and also get people buying. So hopefully those 10 tips were super helpful, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and my first video back in a few months. If you did, be sure to give this a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video.